This is Justin Matthew. Welcome to Second Nature. Writing a history essay is a craft. So, writing history essay is an exercise in critical thinking and articulation. I'm sure that many of you write either an assignment or a university exam and encounter this problem. Why do we call writing a history essay as a craft? So, let's try to address that problem today. We know that history is not merely about collecting facts or arranging and remembering facts. Of course, historians value facts, but the ability to interpret them, is the most essential skill that we need to develop as a undergraduate or a postgraduate student. So the practice of history, see that phrase, practice of history, is a craft that requires active engagement. And writing is an indispensable part of cultivating your skill as a good history student. That will make you, a good historian later. As we have discussed in our previous two videos, writing includes reading as well. Reading books and articles for an essay, we need to engage in active reading, physical activity. That means, taking down notes. After taking down notes, after reading, you need to engage in revising your notes. Both lecture note and your library notes should be combined thematically, chronologically. Then comes the next important task, that is drafting your essay. That is revising your notes and developing your essay. So let's discuss that element. What are the elements you need to remember, consider when you draft your essay? First of all, we need to have a clarity on the question that you are engaging. Questions are usually about either about a series of events. Say, for instance, anti-colonial movement include a series of events, or you engage a question about an idea. Enlightenment, the Enlightenment is an idea that you engage as a historical context and condition as well. Or you ask a question about a person, maybe Napoleon, and Napoleonic invasion can be a kind of a question. So, but when you get a question, then you ask yourself, what do we examine? We don't provide, we should not prioritize facts. Instead, our focus should be the context. Context means we need to develop a canvas to locate the movement, idea, or people in its historical time and space. We should have a large canvas to draw this image, picture. And second, first is context, and second, a history essay should provide a point of view, a perspective, not just a description of simple description of events. Second, a history essay should focus on, its authenticity. That means verifiability. Your reader should be able to verify your arguments and your evidence. So that means the citations are important. Citation should lead your reader to the place where the evidence is. That can be books or archive or a museum or your interview, if you interview someone. Okay, now let's go back to that point number 2. That is, essay should provide a point of view. Let's try to elaborate that. A history essay should follow a pattern or style called argumentative writing. Argumentative writing. So what does argument mean in academic context or when you write history essay? You are trying to convince your target audience, your reader, of your position, of your perspective, in a calm and rational way. Step by step, you elaborate. That means, this is different from descriptive writing. So in descriptive writing, what you do, you merely present facts uh, or background information. So that's the descriptive essay. So, but argumentative writing is about persuasion. You make a convincing argument and you provide convincing evidence for those claims. So that means your essay should have a central running theme, argument, or perspective. I would call thesis statement, a thesis statement. That means one main claim, that is thesis statement, and series of subclaims should follow. So, each subclaim is backed up with reasons and evidences presented in a logical order. We should follow a logical order. So, so when you write an essay, you need to consider there are 2 things. Number 1 is statement, opinion. Opinion is what you think, right? And second, what you understood and think about, think after reading a book, article, and primary material on a particular topic, particular issue is what matter. Your assessment is different, right? So you're not making an opinion. You're providing an interpretation, an assessment of existing body of literature. So when you do this, there are basic things to remember. There are 4 basic principles to remember. Number 1, history essay deals with ideas, relationships, conflicts, and choices. Not information, not kind of descriptive details. And a history essay should have today's world as its backdrop, because every history should engage the contemporary concerns. It should make sense to your, fellow human beings. And number 3, a history essay combines storytelling and analysis. We have to have a kind of a narrative mode, narrative strategy. A history essay should have a good beginning and a pace of unfolding, a process, and a kind of ending or a conclusion, right? A point. And 4th, history essay deals with an ongoing historiographical debates. So, that means while writing, number 1, you should generate a sense of curiosity by adopting a narrative style, storytelling style. And number 2, we should avoid making value judgments, inserting opinion. Value judgments means historians should not use superlative degrees like the best, greatest, or most, tallest, like that. And we always should have a gratitude. That means we should acknowledge historians for their, while using their arguments. And while writing, what we need to focus is not to track change from your main argument. How do we achieve this? For this, we always need to keep the question as your reference point. Always have question as a sticky note or as a diary note besides you when you write, when you draft your essay. So, and when you get a question, you should not, we tend to write, provide a factual answer. Facts are important, but always remember we need to answer, provide an interpretative answer. For instance, take the case of Neolithic agriculture as a reference point. If you answer in a question on Neolithic revolution, a factual answer will always focus on when and where did shift from foraging to agriculture or domestication of plants, animals, and animals occurred. That's a factual question. And if you provide a kind of interpretative answer, then you examine what social, environmental, and cultural factors might explain the shift from foraging to domestication of plants and animals. That's a difference. And that means, we need to focus on meaning instead of reducing to making statements, making observation. We need to think about meaning. In place of making opinion, we think about meaning. So that means if you make a statement, you make a statement in the, again, we go back to Neolithic example. The shift from foraging to domestication of plants and animals marks one of the most profound transformation in human history. That's a statement. It doesn't have any particular argumentative purchase. You make a statement. But when you provide an kind of interpretative or reflexive answer, you would write the transition not only altered human diets and settlement pattern, but also redefine the way humans relate to nature and to each other. It's all about social change, so society's transformation. That's important. And another important aspect you need to focus is, periodization or pace. There should be a good beginning, pace, and ending. And always focus on the geographical space that you are dealing with. That should be clear in your mind when you write. Sometimes we focus on national or local or global or comparative geographical scales. And historiography is not to summarize 15 scholars and their argument, but historiography examines what have other scholars written about this particular issue, others' opinion. Then you ask, are historians still working on it? And do they dispute? And that dispute part should automatically take us to another important element that you need to take care while writing your history essay. That is, of course, sources. Sources are the important element. We understand that sources are archives of powerful in most contexts, but no source speaks for itself. Therefore, we need to analyze how historians make sources speak. How do they, analyze? Source can speak when historian asks something. If you find a source and ask something about, state formation, what was the nature of state formation in the EO period, then the source can reflect on it, answer back. So that's important. So finally, we need to focus on, organization. Always try to achieve a 5-paragraph essay. That's a standard. With a thesis statement, thesis statement means, your introduction should specify the broad perspective that your essay elaborate, provide a preview. Then always focus on historiography. Historiography is not a separate section that you add on to list historians' names and their works and arguments to highlight. So your essay engages with what historians have already analyzed and argued. That should be the kind of, the central theme of your essay. The debate is extremely important. So we'll focus on that historiography part in our next video. Thank you.